Leader of the opposition New Democratic Party, Arnim Eustace, says the new owner of the Bank of St. Vincent will not extend the same level of facilities in terms of loans and overdrafts to the institutions who have to pay off their loans. Eustace says these institutions will not have the privileges of borrowing as much money as they did before when the government had the power to push.
So, Port Authority, Tongue Board, Postal Corporation, National Properties, all of these institutions will have less funds available to them from here on in. Less funds mean less people will be working there. And that is a critical issue. Less funds for them mean less people working with them. So when you hear the talk about layoff, one has to watch that also, because all those institutions will have less money to operate with.
Eustace says that once that happens, the institutions will not be able to maintain the amount of staff they had before. He says that he has no problem with privatization, but it's the terms and conditions.
And remember, you know, it's not the bank paying back the loan, it's you. Because the loan is to the government, not to the bank. The loan is to the government for the government to use to reduce the government's debt in the bank. So the bank doesn't have to pay back any of the 100 million. And if that had not been done, then the bank would not have been sold.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines is the first sovereign nation to be fully connected to the Next Generation Network. This announcement came from David Crawford, COO of Lime Caribbean. Yesterday, Lime officially switched over from the System X to the Next Generation platform during a ceremony in Arnisvale.
It marks, as Angus was saying, the first sovereign nation in the world to turn off its legacy, switched architecture, and go to a full NGN. And you know, Lime's role increasingly is about supporting the community, making lives in the Caribbean better. And it's worth looking forward to what next. And I think if we keep on the broadband theme, there's so much that it enables. Enables access to education materials. Angus mentioned the games, but it also, the educational materials, the national curriculum, which is online, and we'll be working with local content production to make it increasingly available. Telemedicine, improvements in security, video conferencing for business, and increasingly the E in Lime. So we're trialing Lime TV, which runs over the broadband network, and it should be here soon. We're also trialing mobile TV, which, subject to the necessary regulatory approvals and licenses and etc., will be here very soon as well.
As a result of this, all Lime customers are broadband ready. Anyone requiring internet access can do so over a 24-hour period. Assistant nutritionist in the Ministry of Health, Joyce Bergen, is encouraging mothers throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines to ensure that they breastfeed their children until they are at least 6 months old. She made this call following the Infant and Young Child Feeding Counseling Workshop, which was held last week. Ms. Bergen said mothers should be confident that their breast milk is enough that a young child requires up to 6 months. Ms. Bergen says the only case in which they would not encourage mothers to breastfeed is if they are HIV positive. The local chapter of the Toastmasters International Organization is preparing to host a major regional conference in St. Vincent and the Grenadines later this month. Conference chair of the District 81 Caribbean Toastmasters Conference, Monica Thomas Woodley, says plans are well underway for the conference, which takes place here from October 15th to 17th. Thomas Woodley said to date they have already over 70 regional delegates registered for the District 81 Caribbean Toastmasters Conference. She also said they expect a total of 120 delegates to attend. A number of churches across the country are now gearing up for the second annual National Bible Festival. The SVG Gospel Festival Committee is organizing the event, which will be held under the theme Wisdom Through the Word of God. The committee says the festival was created to encourage healthy spiritual development and effective Christian service through the reading of the Bible. They also hope to increase the frequency, variety, and quality of Christian activities in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It gets underway this Friday, October 8th, with zonal preliminaries at the Faith Temple Church in New Montrose and runs until the 17th. With less than 2 months remaining before the next United Nations Climate Change Conference in Cancun, a senior world body official called on nations to accelerate efforts to find common ground to reach a concrete outcome at the Mexico meeting. Christiana Figueres, Executive Secretary of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, said, quote, "Governments have restored their own trust in the process, but they must ensure that the rest of the world believes in a future of ever-increasing government commitment to combat climate change," unquote. Some 3,000 participants from more than 170 countries are in Tianjin, China for a negotiation session which began yesterday ahead of the next conference of parties in Cancun, kicking off on November 29th. Figueres stressed governments need to agree on what is doable in Cancun and how it will be achievable in a politically balanced manner. She noted there is a growing convergence in the negotiations that the event in the Mexican city could lead to a package of decisions defining action to address climate change. Hungary says it will cost tens of millions of dollars and take at least a year to clean up the damage caused by a spill of toxic red industrial sludge. Emergency workers are trying to stop the spill from an alumina plant from flowing into major waterways. A state of emergency has been declared in 3 Western countries after the chemical waste burst from a reservoir. 4 people are known to have died and 120 were injured. 6 more are missing. And now here's Al Archer with your weather update.
Late today, we've been watching a subtropical storm system evolve and intensify slowly in the waters halfway between Bermuda and the Dominican Republic. Well, of course, to our northwest. It will continue to move on out towards the northeast, away from us here over the course of the next day or so. And the significant rains, which we've been watching on radar also in the northern Leeward Islands and northeastern Caribbean, are going to also advance on to the northeast, away from us, while a low-pressure storm system is forecast by computer models to develop in the western Caribbean over the next day or so to the west of Jamaica, drop south or towards Panama by Friday, and then move up the east coast of Central America over the weekend, possibly throwing some heavier rains into areas like Nicaragua, Honduras, but staying well to our west. Could eventually become a tropical storm or stronger, then moving into the Yucatan of Mexico towards the end of next week. Here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, our forecast of partly cloudy, a 20% or less chance of a shower now through Friday, then a 30% Saturday into Sunday, all coming from the southeast, about 15 knots. Temperatures during the nighttime dropped to 78 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. The highs were at 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. With a marine forecast for tonight, winds out of the southeast 10 to 15 knot, seas 1.5 to 2 meters. Thursday and Thursday night, winds are east-southeast 10 to 15 knot, seas at 1 to 1.5 meters as well. Checking tides here in Kingstown. We're starting out with a low at 10:02 tonight, high 437 tomorrow morning, and then a low at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm meteorologist Alan Archer with lots and lots of well-deserved Thursday, Friday sunshine here on IKTV. It's all about you.
Sports is up next.